Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch every one and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week, we are wrapping up 1987 as we continue through season 4 of Muppet Babies with 3 more episodes of this goddamn show.
This one tested me, Matt.
One of these episodes specifically might bump to the bottom of the list as new least favorite episode.
There's 2 that could apply to for me.
I know.
And I'm not sure which one you mean. But
It's a pretty rough batch. But the episodes we watched are from December of 1987, and they are Beach Blanket Babies, Old McKermit Had a Farm, and Adventures in Muppet-Sitting. But that's not all, because we also watched a brief clip of Jim Henson and Kermit on Entertainment Tonight promoting a Muppet Family Christmas.
all too brief. It wasn't enough to wash the stink out of my mouth.
But before we get into that, I wanted to... I started this way more seriously than I intended to sound. This is not a... I was like going to make a declaration.
Oh, no.
But really, it's going to be very silly once I say it out loud. 1988, as we look ahead to the next year we are covering here on Commitment, is a year where the Muppets are like, you know what is popular now? VHS tapes. And they lean in hard and release a good number of VHS tapes in 1988. Looking at some of those, we have a Muppet Babies storybook thing that looks extremely boring and terrible. It's officially called Muppet Babies Video Storybooks, which is a direct-to-VHS series where Kermit is reading Muppet Babies storybooks to Robin. And it's the actual, like, the Muppet Babies storybooks that you could buy in the store. And he's reading those to Robin.
Oh, okay.
There are 6 of these VHS tapes that are all about a half hour long. So we've got 3 hours of these storybook VHS is to watch. And I can't imagine they're entertaining or good or that we'll have much to say about them. So what I am planning on doing, because a lot of these VHS tapes are released just sort of broadly in the year 1988, they don't have a release date specifically that we can find, I'm going to tack them on to other episodes. So we'll do an episode where it's 3 episodes of Muppet Babies and 1 VHS tape.
Horrible example. That sounds awful.
It does, and that's next week.
No.
But there will be other times where we'll sort of play it by ear and decide if there are VHSs that need more of a devoted episode to it. Like, for instance, I know we are getting close to the play-along VHS tapes, and some people have a soft spot for some of those, like You're As Funny as Fozzie Bear. And I think that could be more fun to talk about. So just so you know, if you think that we're skipping over any of these VHS tapes that you may have loved and watched in the 80s, we are not. We are just going to sparse them out. But we've got, there's neat stuff to know and to do is one of these. I don't know what that could be.
Great.
Wow, You're a Cartoonist. Sing Along, Dance Along, Do Along. Peekaboo, A Big Surprise for Little People.
And this is the play-along videos.
Yes.
Okay.
And then there's a Mother Goose Stories one, which is a series that
one looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, we can figure that out, how we'll cover that, because that was released in a few different ways, both as a play-along video, but also as a sort of series later on in the 90s. We've also got a Sesame Street special fundraising thing they did in 1988 that was later released in 1994 as the Put Down the Ducky VHS tape. So deciding, do we cover that now as when it aired or when the VHS was released in 1994. I think we'll probably cover it now because there are things they cut out of it for the VHS tape, mostly Kermit. But also,
so is this like a perk with donation or something?
it was aired as a fundraiser like for PBS and for
I
Sesame
get it.
Workshop, I believe.
Right.
And so they cut out some of the stuff that's specifically like, please give us money right now. So the VHS tape that's released later in 94 is all of the bits that aren't please give us money.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But I have found the full version that includes the please give us money stuff. So I think
That's
we'll
great.
probably watch that. Maybe with our next Sesame Street episode would make sense. But we'll see. There's just a lot of random stuff. They're starting to do more in a like scattered sort of way. And I don't want to miss anything. So we will figure out how those come together. And thankfully we're coming up soon on the end of season 4 of Muppet Babies. And so we'll have a little break in our schedule where we're going to be talking about a lot of those random things like VHS tapes, a couple more storyteller episodes, and just some other 1988 goodness, which 1988 is actually going to be a year that'll go by pretty fast, I think, in terms of, we've spent 20 episodes in 1985 or whatever. I think we'll be into 1989 by the spring.
That just means we have a lot of episodes of Muppet Babies to do in a row, is what it
Well,
sounds like.
I was trying to sort of hide that fact that we'll be back to Muppet Babies by March.
That's okay. That's a good break. I'm okay with that.
And we're going to have one of our famous catch-up odds and end episodes coming up pretty soon, where we're going to catch up on a bunch of things that have been released or found since the last time we did one of those episodes. As usual, I hope we can find some Jimmy Dean. I don't know if there is any new stuff posted, but there's always hope. But yeah, we will catch up on some stuff. We'll dive into some VHSs and hopefully enjoy a couple more storyteller episodes before the next season of Muppet Babies comes around.
The next one we watch is Why He's Divorced. So I'm excited for that. The storyteller.
I could see it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a man cave going. Just him and his dog eating some just boiled broccoli. He's trying to, bulk up so he can get back on the dating scene. I guess he's trying to trim down a little bit so his muscles show through. Look strong.
Yeah, he's got to look good for those like Hinge pics or Tinder pics or whatever. He's got to have
be like all skeletons on his Hinge. It would just be like
it'd be a nice sweet photo of him and his dog, so people would be like, oh, he's an animal guy. But in the background it'd be like an out of focus human skull that was used as a bowling ball, and people would be like, cute dog, love the dog.
Oh no, all the ladies that he'd be getting matched with would be skeletons, they just
He's like, damn it, another skeleton lady.
He lives in the kingdom of death or something, so
he does seem to exist in this sort of post-apocalyptic world where we hear that he's interacted with other humans,
but it's all in the past.
It's all in the past. We don't see like another person walk into his story room and be like, oh, sorry to interrupt. Didn't mean to interrupt this. Please continue with your story and your
unless
weird
he's
dog.
got like big signs on his door that's like, stay out. If your name's not the storyteller, you're not getting in here. Stuff like that.
Or he's just got like a red recording light outside. He's like, this is my
and everybody has to
professional
tiptoe
time
around the castle when he's doing his thing. My lofty hope for these Muppet Babies video storybooks is that it will be interesting to see Kermit puppet, fishtail, dovetail with the world of Muppet Babies. What is fishtail? But
that's like you're in your car when you lose control.
That's how I feel. That's my life. But
I thought you were trying to describe Robin the Tadpole, and I was like, neither of those is right.
Seeing the puppets merge with the world of Muppet Babies could be interesting in some capacity. We could glean some information from this, or there could be something that happens that makes watching Muppet Babies have been worthwhile. That's all I'm looking for.
Yeah, no, I am hopeful, even if just Kermit is asked by Robin in a sort of Muppet movie way, is this how things really happened, Uncle Kermit?
Yeah.
And he can say like, oh, well, no.
Absolutely not.
This is not at all what happened. Like, just adding some extra information to the world of Muppet Babies is the only reason I think it is worth watching these.
Are we going to have to hear Jim read these books?
Yeah.
That makes me sad for some reason. But I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I think we've had a couple people, I won't call anyone out specifically, but we've had a couple people now write in trying to get us to stop discussing Muppet Babies, or at least discuss Muppet Babies less. And I think that they think we need help and saving from Muppet Babies. We have done this to ourselves, just so everyone understands. We have made the choice. We know we could fast track this. But you know what that means? Is it means we would have to watch like 8 episodes of Muppet Babies in 1 week. And if there's one thing that's worse than having to watch 3 episodes of Muppet Babies at a time, it's watching 8 episodes of Muppet Babies at a time.
Having to talk about them.
I would lose my mind.
How are we even going to do that? It's not realistic. And I think this batch of episodes, as it was ending, I was like, maybe I got to tell Matt we have to do something different.
And I am all open to doing something different. I just don't know that we can truly.
I don't think there's really like a good way to do it. But all that is to say, I do think we're going to come out of this with valuable information, with something that we can apply to the future. I think already we have Muppet Babies to blame for the fact that Fozzie says Waka Waka way more. I feel like that is like in Muppet Family Christmas, he did say Waka Waka, I think. And I think he will continue to say it as a puppet grown up in the future. So I think that there will be moments where we see something and we think, oh, that's because Muppet Babies. And I bet even more as people our age start to be the people who interact with the Muppet, who like are controlling the Muppets more, that will become even more prevalent.
Yeah, I think I don't know that I would. This is, again, sometimes I have to remind myself that we're doing a Muppet podcast and that is inherently at times a silly thing, because I was just about to say, I think I would feel bad looking back and saying we skipped over Muppet Babies if we didn't watch all of Muppet Babies.
It would feel weird. I do think it would feel weird if we
feels
didn't
like
watch
such
it
a part
in some
of
way, shape, or form.
Our childhoods, and a lot of people we talk to about the fact that we have a Muppet podcast will ask, "Are you talking about Muppet Babies?" And I say, "Oh,
brother, are we?"
I'm going to answer that question and make you sad for us at the same time.
You wouldn't believe it, my friend.
But I do have some good news for you, Sam.
Okay, about time.
I forgot to mention this last time, but the last batch we watched took us over the 50% mark.
Oh.
And so this week, we are hitting
50.5. What?
53.27%.
What? This is the best news I've ever heard in my life.
We are over halfway through Muppet Babies.
Wow, 3% more. It's in the rearview window. Mirror, even.
I wanted to play a sound effect, like a horn or something at that point, but the only thing I have loaded up in our Zencaster app is still the Crazy Hairy Boom sound effect from our Tough Pigs episode we did, and I wasn't going to do that.
It's too scary, Matt. You've gone crazy with these sound effects. You have too much power now.
I have shown great restraint. You don't know this, but I have thought way more about sound effects I could add to that I have never used.
You knock yourself out. I think one of our crowning achievements was when we put that Michael Jackson song in that one Christmas episode.
Oh God,
that's the fanciest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, if you want a podcast that puts in lots of clips for you to hear the context of what they're talking about, go listen to Muppeturgy.
Yeah,
they're really good at that. We're just going to describe to you what an inflated Miss Piggy looks like, so you don't have to hear anybody talk about it.
Unless someday we can hire some poor soul to pull clips for us and put them in episodes.
We're going to add another person to the misery of having to watch Muppet Babies.
Yep. That's right. But by the end of this, we're going to have a whole staff of people who are watching it for us.
There are people who still continue to watch every single thing that we watch.
There better
be. They are watching along with us on this journey through Muppet Babies.
And they will be rewarded handsomely for it.
With a golden diaper we will present to you at the completion.
Send everybody a gold, spray painted gold, mind you. We're not gold plating a diaper.
No. It's going to be spray painted gold. It will have terrible fumes coming off of it. I can't imagine spray paint and diapers are going to interact well together.
In a box shipped? No.
Yeah, it might be. Well, the government might even just pull that. I mean, it might not make it to you.
We might
They
end
might
up
be
in
like,
jail. Yeah.
this is clearly an explosive device. One little spark and this thing's going up.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you're like, people clean their bathrooms. This is on Reddit a lot, where people will clean their bathrooms and then they'll be like, this is the concoction I use. And then there will be several hundred comments that are like, you've created mustard gas. You're going to die.
Why do I always feel so dizzy after cleaning my bathtub?
Yeah, there really are a lot of posts like that.
I feel like Reddit is a world that I have never delved into in my entire life. And now that I am becoming a parent, it is, I think, worse because you look up one little piece of parenthood advice and you have 600 people yelling at you that you're the worst parent who's ever existed.
This is a thought that several other people have expressed, though, but Reddit is like closest to what the internet kind of used to be, I feel like, and is one of the only reliable-ish places you can look up information, because you can downvote things and like people will be like, don't do this under any circumstances. And so when I Google, I put Reddit at the end of almost everything I Google, because it's somebody's going to be talking about it, and you can read enough comments to figure out if who knows what they're talking about on any given subject. But it's a horrible place just to go like look at, and I always feel more sad after I'm done looking at it.
That's most of the social internet.
That's been the internet forever, though. Is right. Yeah. Like back when you're on some random chat room and then you're done and you're like, that was a waste of my life, and I learned some things that I could never unlearn.
Why was I in this Lord of the Rings chat room on AIM for 6 hours?
reading these people role playing, kissing each other.
Well, we should probably move on from that as quickly as possible to ask
something
Sam.
More wholesome.
Much more wholesome. Sam, what did we watch this week?
December 12th, 1987. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Snow covers the ground. The Christmas tree stands in full glory in your shag-carpeted living room. Your dad's outside, hanging up the lights, and you're inside, cozy and warm. Yes, you think, life is good. In the charitable spirit of Christmas, you let your little sister pick what to watch this fine Saturday morning. She flips the channel, 2 Muppet Babies. Panic prickles up your neck. God is dead. This week's episode is Beach Blanket Babies. Nanny has enrolled the babies in swim class, and to get them ready for that, she gives them all new swimsuits and then drags an inflatable kiddie pool filled with water into the middle of the playroom, thus hitting a new low in terms of not letting the babies leave the room. The babies all start splashing around except Fozzie, who's scared to learn to swim. The babies try to help him get over this fear by imagining that he'll be eaten by crocodile versions of the Three Stooges, and then the episode lives up to its title as the babies imagine that they are the cast of a 60s beach movie in which Gonzo and Animal are bullies who challenge the babies to a surf contest for control of the beach. Kermit does the surfing, but he wipes out, and Fozzie swims out to save him before he has time to realize that he is scared of the water, and he's cured of his fear, I guess. Suddenly, back in the real world, you have an idea to get these accursed babies out of your life. December 19th, 1987. The scene in your living room gets more festive every day. Presents have begun to pile up beneath the tree. The stockings are hung by the chimney with care. Later today, you'll go visit Santa at the mall, and you have but one wish. That Muppet Babies is canceled and removed from the air immediately. You hear that old familiar theme song blast from the TV. This week's episode is called Old McKermit Has a Farm. The babies are hungry, so they go to the kitchen to get some blueberry muffins, because Nanny always has a tin of blueberry muffins in the kitchen. They open the tin and find it empty. Then Nanny enters and tells them that she'll need to order more from the supermarket. As they wait, the babies imagine going to the supermarket, but find that even in their wildest fantasies, their store is sold out of muffins. So they pivot and decide to imagine where muffins come from in the first place. Kermit imagines himself as a farmer who grows muffins. That's all well and good until Scooter informs them that you cannot grow muffins. You have to bake them with eggs, milk, and flour. So then Gonzo imagined that he's a farmer who grows eggs on eggplants. And it feels, deja vu. Same thing all over again, basically. At this point, you realize life is meaningless and completely zone out. When you snap to, Nanny has muffins for the babies. You can't wait until the jolly old elf himself erases this blasphemous show from existence. December 26th, 1987. Yesterday was Christmas, but your real present comes today. You wake up at 6 a.m. and turn on the TV, waiting patiently to see what will replace Muppet Babies in its time slot, now that it has been taken off the air by St. Nick. You keep seeing ads that say Muppet Babies will be airing soon, but surely that must be an error. They just haven't had time to swap those commercials out. When you talked to Santa at the mall, he seemed hesitant but assured you that he'd do what he can, and he can do anything. The time has come. You hold your breath. That awful chorus of voices screams out, mocking your ears. Santa has failed. Magic is dead. Muppet Babies is and always will be. You have a horrible thought. Perhaps Santa was defeated or even killed by this malevolent force that you sent him to defeat. Did you kill Santa? This week's episode is Adventures in Muppet-Sitting. Robin has come to the nursery once again. Animal gets his hands on Robin's fishbowl, and after a close call in which he almost drops it, the babies decide that Baby Animal and Baby Robin are the most babiest babies of all the babies, and they need to be kept safe and calm while Robin is around. So they take turns showing them calm stuff like computer games and shadow puppets, and then they all imagine a version of Little Red Riding Hood where Piggy has to go to Dagobah to find her grandma, and she meets Yoda and almost gets eaten by Audrey too. Your mom brings you a Pop-Tart, and it helps quell the dark thoughts, if just for a moment. We also watched a short feature on Muppet Family Christmas from Entertainment Tonight. Kermit and Jim discuss the joy of getting all the Muppets back together, Kermit and Piggy's relationship, and Jim's cameo appearance. If you wanted to watch some Christmas specials on TV in 1987, instead of watching Muppet Babies, you could check out a Garfield Christmas special, 'Tis the Season to Be Smurfy, and a Claymation Christmas, which all premiered this year. Or very special Christmas episodes of Alf, Night Court, Designing Women, Matlock, and Mr. Belvedere. The world is a lot better now in almost every way. But back in the 80s, we were doing Christmas TV right.
What is Claymation Christmas?
You never seen Claymation Christmas?
No. This sounds...
That shocks me.
So vague as a title that I'm like, who was behind it?
I think that it's like the Xerox effect, where Claymation was the sole domain of this studio, Will Vinton. You'd recognize it if you saw it because he's the person who invented the California raisins.
Okay.
So it looks just like that.
They're like, we gotta have more of that.
I'm honestly...
Are the California raisins in it?
Oh, of course. Of course they are. They sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This really surprises me that you haven't seen this because this is such a core part of my Christmas experience. It's a TV special, and these two dinosaurs are hosting it. They're claymation dinosaurs, and they just introduce like a bunch of camels who are singing We Three Kings, and the California Raisins is one of them. But it's just like really beautiful, cool claymation.
It has a very that era of claymation has a very specific look to it, and I think I have maybe seen these dinosaurs before. I feel like there's a chance we've talked about Will Vinton on this podcast before.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I am looking him up. He has a Muppet Wiki page.
Oh, okay.
And so, yes, there is the Great Muppet Cartoon Show, which was the Muppet Babies episode in season 2. We talked about him because there was clips from 2 of his stop motion shorts when they're talking about different animation.
Right, maybe things. Like a flower that's doing something or something like that.
I think it's like an evolution thing. Like I think we see like a fish turn into a animal, turn into whatever. So
yeah.
I think we've had a version of this conversation before, now that I am realizing it. We probably even discussed Bump in the Night, and I probably even asked you if it was the same guy. But I don't think we discussed Claymation Christmas at the time.
No, Claymation Christmas special. I remember watching this, like, probably it must be one of my earliest memories, or my parents taped it or something, but I remember watching this every Christmas for years and years. Especially the We Three Kings part is like totally seared into my brain, but it's worth looking up. It's great.
I was gonna say, it feels like one of those things that I might revisit and it'll click suddenly that I have seen it, but not since I was 4 or something. But it does. It looks vaguely familiar, but I don't have any memories of watching it. And it being the week after Christmas, I'm not necessarily drawn to go revisit it.
12 Days of Christmas, though, Matt. They happen after Christmas, so it is still the Christmas season.
Gotta get ready for my 5 gold rings tomorrow.
You have so many gold rings already. I don't know how you're going to fit more on your fingers. Matt wears a lot of jewelry, everybody.
If you get new gold rings, you replace the old ones.
Oh, you throw the old ones in the trash.
Yeah, every year, 5 new gold rings.
Yeah. You're hard on gold rings. You really wear through them.
When you wear them every day and you wear like 3 per finger, like you're going to wear them out. But getting into the things we usually try to avoid as long as possible, episodes of Muppet Babies. First up, the December 12th, 1987 episode, Season 4, Episode 13, Beach Blanket Babies, written by Sidney McKay and Larry Swerdlove. Yes, they are the ones who will be married later on.
Thank you for answering the question I was about to ask.
Every time I say their names, I expect it now.
Yeah, Swerdlove McKay, the dream team. Who wrote the best episode of this horrible batch, I will say.
Oh.
In my opinion.
Okay.
You hate this. This is the one you hate the most.
I hate this one a lot.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. This one was rough, I will say.
I enjoyed Gonzo and Animal's evil alter egos at the end of this episode. And thought that, like, while watching them on the beach, I was like, this is a better show that I would watch instead. Like, this is the Muppet Teens show that you imagine.
Gotcha.
Like, this could have been the show instead.
I think my problem with this episode is that the central plot isn't that interesting. They kind of try to distract you from it for most of it.
Yeah.
And then it is resolved kind of off screen in an imagination segment, and no one calls attention to the fact that the problem has been solved.
This one, that's true. And this one also, maybe this concept for an episode suffers more from not the babies not being able to leave the place where they are than any other concept. Because if they had been at a pool, and Fozzie was afraid to get in the pool, that would be much more understandable than him just literally touching water that's less deep than a bathtub.
Yeah. And yeah, so I think, like, is Old McKermit Had a Farm the episode that you hate?
No, the last one. The last one I wanted to die.
Wow, we are diametrically opposed in this week.
Okay. Anyway,
I hated the first two, and I was totally on board for the third one.
How is that possible? It was the dream. It was dream logic. Okay, never mind. I quit. I quit the podcast.
I think maybe the reason you hated it is the reason I loved it.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
We can get into that. But first, Beach Blanket Babies kicks off with a Muppet mini golf tournament.
Hey, make Kermit a whole episode about that. This part was cute.
We get a couple openings to episodes that just really go nowhere this time.
Oh,
and this one is really where it's like, okay, Kermit's taking his shot. Rolf's commentating on golf. Some of the other babies are taking their golf shots, but mostly this part isn't a lot of fun, and you assume that it'll come back up later, but it just doesn't.
How would you? Why would you ever assume that?
Sometimes they will do a callback.
Okay.
Yeah, we have the cavalry section in the next the last episode.
That's the last one. Yeah.
Where they start off doing an F Troop parody. And then later on, when they have to chase after Robin and Animal, they dive back into those characters.
That almost seems like an accident, honestly. But...
like, what if we did an F Troop parody here? They're like, I feel like we did that recently. They're like, doesn't matter. Well, when they're finished playing mini golf, Nanny comes in with a big surprise. New bathing suits for all the babies. She says, I'm taking you to the swim center tomorrow to start your new swim lessons.
I was fully expecting this episode to end with her being like, tough luck. We can't go to the swim center.
The swim center burned down. There's a lot of tomorrow, next week. Yep. There's a lot of promises made that we never see the payoff.
It's making me realize that we interact with the Muppet Babies generally on the most boring days that they have.
Right, yes. We do not see the fun times they have.
The day before they go to the amusement park. The day before they go to the swim center, yeah.
Well, and notably, we never hear them say, man, when we went to the zoo last week, that was so much fun.
Ruled, yeah.
They're always talking about going somewhere in the future. And so aside from ballet class.
Yeah, I was going to say Piggy at dance class is a standout only because we know she went there.
Yeah. That's the only confirmation we have of one of the Muppet Babies going to a second location.
They've never been to the supermarket. They had barely even heard of the concept of a supermarket.
What the Muppet Babies know and don't know frustrates me more than anything, but also what the smart Muppet Babies know and don't know frustrates me. When Bunsen and Scooter are often used as the voices of reason, or they know things the other Muppet Babies don't know and they teach them, but then they're the ones who are like, where do blueberry muffins come from?
This one was, well, we'll get to that one in a second, but they were very different in this one.
Yeah. Well, Scooter and Skeeter accidentally swap swimsuits, which they are absolutely disgusted.
Yeah, they're like, gross, disgusting.
Yeah.
They're hitting that a little too heavy, guys.
Well, especially, like, Scooter puts on a two-piece bathing suit, and he's like, I can't believe I wore girl clothes.
Yeah.
When it's like every fantasy they do, their imagination, one of these kiddos is wearing a dress.
That's right.
Because they've only got two girl characters. So very often, in their imagination, one of them is playing a girl, and they're never this disgusted by it.
I feel like maybe the slight implication was that they had felt as if their brother/sister had already worn the thing that they were wearing. And it is maybe akin to like wearing underwear that your sister had previously worn. And that would be kind of like, weird. But
yeah, just equating the swimsuit with underwear a little bit more than just a dress, I guess.
Yeah.
But at this point, Nanny brings in a kiddie pool into the nursery to get them used to the water.
This is evil. She's going to ruin her house. Like,
yeah, that's a carpeted room.
Yeah. When I spill like water on my rug, I'm like, oh, fuck. It's going to, rot the wood beneath. I must take extreme measures. But I mean, she puts like a garbage bag down. But this is fucked.
Yeah, you've got, 8 babies kicking around in a little kiddie pool in the middle of a carpeted room. Yeah. It's going to be bad.
They can't draw a backyard. They can't do a fence and some green grass and just check out the backyard.
They can't even do songs anymore, Sam. So I don't think.
Oh my god! When that song started in the last episode, I was like, "Oh, great! Song.
It's this one.
That's this. Oh yeah, that's this.
Yeah,
one.
It's this
like
one.
2 lines long, and it's the worst song I ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it's not even just the worst song Muppet Babies has ever done. It's it's barely a song.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the worst songs I've ever heard, and it sounds like callback for devoted listeners. It's exactly the energy of Miles's birthday song that his grandpa sings to him in Sesame Street.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like they pointed at the actor in the moment and said, "Hey, sing a song right now." And they're like, "Oh, okay, here I go."
The songwriter woke up and went to work, and they said, "You got that new song ready?" And he went, "Yes." I have to go to the bathroom.
Give me 1 minute to pull out my notes here. But yes, we've said this before, but like one line of it being too cold outside, or it's snowing, or something, to be like, well, since it's too cold outside, you guys will have to play in your pool inside today.
Or go in the bathtub. The bathtub has been shown to be huge, and Nanny could say, you can test them out in the bathtub. That could be fun.
Yeah, Fozzie has had no problem with bath time, I believe, in the past.
Been splish splashing all over the place.
And then all the kids start to get in the pool, but Fozzie isn't so sure about it. The kids grab a nearby slide and put that into the pool, which, no brainer right there. You gotta.
It looks fun as hell. They're making a big mess, though.
Skeeter jumps off the window bench thing with her horse floaty into the pool, and we get to see some vintage footage of a horse doing a high dive.
I hated that. That was scary. The horse, I assume, is fine.
Well, I mean, for a while.
Yeah.
If anyone who's listening has not yet watched Nate Bargatze's new Netflix special, he has a whole run about when he was growing up going to county fairs. There would often be a donkey doing a high dive.
Oh, God.
At the county fair. And he goes on a long run of the realization of, like, they didn't, like, watching a donkey jump off a high dive is pretty generous language use there, when really it's a donkey being pushed off of a high dive because they are not choosing to high dive.
Not jump off a donkey? That's sad.
Yeah. And they would send a dog up after it to bark at it and scare it off the high dive.
Why?
I'm assuming the same thing's happening here with this horse.
That's awful.
But yeah, the Nate Bargatze special, very fun to watch. Watching a horse or a donkey jump off of a high dive, I would say less fun to watch.
It's like seared into my brain seeing that black and white clip. And I imagine if you're a child, you're like, what the hell? What's waiting for me in the world?
Or just like expecting that to be a common thing. You're like, wait, I didn't know this could happen.
Yeah. Where's all the horse high dives I was promised?
Well, this episode, like I said, I have problems with this episode because it doesn't feel like it has too much of a plot. Other than everyone wants to go in the pool, Fozzie's a little scared, and Kermit's the only one who cares. But this is the point where they pivot a little bit into Fantasyland, where Fozzie is being taught how to swim by 3 crocodiles who are also the 3 Stooges for some reason.
And their names are Mo, Larry, and Crocodile. No.
Gotta skate past that copyright somehow.
Why? Why Crocodile? Their names could have been Crocodile, Crocodile, and Crocodile. But
that's better.
Logic. Yeah.
Well, this is one of those inconceivable imagination segments that lasts so long that it has a commercial break in the middle of it.
And first of all, you learn a lot of misinformation about crocodiles, like that their scales help them float. Is that true?
I mean, my main takeaway from that was, would you actually call what crocodiles have scales, or is that their skin that is scale-like? Because I know on fish, like scales are like individually attached and can scrape them off. But like, is a crocodile, do they actually have scales?
Yes, they do. Interconnected scales or scoots. And it just bothers me. As the muffin episode really was like, you could have taught kids how muffins are made for real. You could teach kids what crocodiles are like for real.
There's one moment in the episode where they say one line that is legitimately educational and a helpful moment for kids. And then the rest of the episode is misinformation.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, what are we doing here? Why even bother? Crocodile Frog E, which is Kermit dressed as Crocodile Dundee, comes in to save the day from the villains.
I saw you
trying to teach Fozzie how to swim.
I saw that you were watching this on B-Reel, and I saw Crocodile Froggy, and I hadn't watched it yet, and I almost commented, his name's Crocodile Froggy, isn't it? And I wish I had.
Yeah. Pretty safe bet there.
Yeah, you could show, like, that would be like a fun game if you like somebody went ahead, one of our listeners, and like picked a bunch of imaginary characters with names that these kids play, and we could guess. I bet our hit rate would be great.
Just post a screenshot of, Gonzo dressed as Batman and be like, what are they going to call this guy?
Weirdo Man. Obviously, it will be Weirdo Man.
Weirdo Man.
Or Bat Weirdo, I suppose. But it won't be Bat Weirdo. It will be
No, because Bat Weirdo's too good.
Yeah, that one makes sense.
Bruce Weirdo.
Weird Brusso. That's what they would go.
Or it'd be Nose Wayne.
I kind of like that.
Is anyone ever... I think about this way too much, Sam, and this is not anything to do with Muppets at all.
Okay, can't wait to hear it.
Has anyone ever drawn some sort of Batman parody with Wayne Knight? Because he has the best almost Batman name.
Oh, wow, he does, because he's Bruce Wayne in The Dark Knight.
Yeah. Wayne Knight is Batman, is what I'm saying.
Wayne Knight is a better name for Batman's alter ego than Bruce Wayne.
I think that one's too obvious, though.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm Wayne Knight. It's like, wait, isn't Batman the Dark Knight?
No.
It's like, no. So I gotta go. Poof. I do see some photoshopped pictures of Wayne Knight in a Batman costume.
I also do. None with him with a cowl on, though, that I'm seeing.
You gotta leave that Newman face showing.
Yeah, that's right.
But I could see him, maybe not in this era, but I could have seen him popping up on some show in the 90s dressed as Batman.
It sounds like something they do on Mad Magazine to me.
But yeah, unrelated to Muppets entirely. But completely. I think about that anytime Wayne Knight comes up in conversation or Batman comes up in conversation, because it's so close.
Superman looms large over Muppet Babies, but Batman doesn't really pop up.
Maybe Superman's just good enough that they can like let kids want to be like Superman, but explaining the backstory of Batman to Muppet Babies might be a little complicated.
That's true. It gets a little dark a little fast, huh?
Hey, you know how all your parents are dead? So Batman's parents died too.
Yeah. They would really be able to understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
And then they would all
should all be vigilantes.
We should become Dark Avengers, of course.
Yeah,
I'll be Weirdo Man. You be Froggy Man. You be Pig Man.
I feel like they've missed their chance, but the Muppets really could have done a superhero movie at some point.
Yeah, they should have. Yeah, if they had been, like, if Jim was still around in the early 2000s or mid 2000s when that really picked up, definitely
they could have done another like Muppets
he would
Go
have
to the
had
Movies.
This way to do it. Yeah.
They should just do another Muppets Go to the Movies. Honestly, like
they should.
They own Disney could be like, yeah, anything we own,
just do
go
it.
For it.
Go nuts.
I would pitch that as a Disney Plus special, but also I think a Marvel What If that incorporates Muppets in some way.
How have they not? They did a Marvel What If about Donald Duck being Wolverine, right?
Did they do that?
There's a comic at least. I thought there was an episode of that.
I don't know. I haven't watched the series, but I think if they had like Kermit playing Frog Thor on a What If episode,
right?
I would.
Or just what if
so happy
the Muppets were
the Avengers.
The Avengers, and then you have a whole episode that's just Muppets doing that. Yeah,
and we very quickly run into the problem again of not enough female Muppets.
Yeah, that's true.
Every time something like this comes up, my wife and I were just talking about. We had rewatched the Brett Goldstein with the Muppets interview that he did last year. We're talking about Muppet Christmas Carol because we had watched Brett Goldstein when he performs the Muppet Christmas Carol songs at a stand-up routine. And watching that, he pitches Muppet Pride and Prejudice with him playing Darcy and Piggy playing Elizabeth Bennet.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people have talked about that idea, and it's a great idea. But Pride and Prejudice has so many female characters.
Yeah. You quickly get to like, then Yolanda has to be one of them.
Oh, Yolanda would be the first round, unfortunately. Like, we'd have to, it would be Piggy, Janice, Yolanda. Uh-oh, we're out.
Wanda from Wayne and Wanda.
Yeah, Annie Sue is coming back.
Yeah.
Camilla can be in there.
You might have to let the Fraggles in.
I mean, that they don't have the rights, though, is the problem.
That's true.
But you've got, I guess, Denise the pig you could bring back.
No.
Emily Bear could play Mrs. Bennett.
Yeah. Is Denise the one that the pig he dated?
In 2015, who I'm sure we will never see again. But
maybe you just use this as an opportunity to invent a bunch of new female Muppet characters.
Yeah. Because I'm looking through, there's a, on women.com, an article called All the Female Muppets, the Complete List.
Is it women.com just a list of every woman who's ever existed?
Categorized by different categories here. This is the Muppet one. But what I am realizing in scrolling through this list is that a lot of, when you start going down the list of female Muppets, most of them are old ladies.
Oh, yeah, because there's the costume-making lady. There's the lady with the owl. They're both gray-haired, I think.
There's the Jerry and the Atrix. There's Mrs. Appleby.
Oh, yeah, right.
But yeah, that to be said, I would love to see some adaptation like that. I think Pride and Prejudice would be great. I think any adaptation, honestly, would be a great way to bring the Muppets back into the public consciousness because Muppet Christmas Carol is so popular right now that you could lean into that.
And that's what Muppet Christmas Carol was, an adaptation that brought Muppets into the popular consciousness.
Exactly. And they've done Treasure Island. They did Wizard of Oz. So I feel like you just, Disney, go look at the list of things that recently became public domain.
Popeye. Popeye just became public domain.
There we go. Popeye Muppets.
Muppet Popeye.
But we really got a detour there from this episode.
I don't remember why we even started talking about it.
Something to do with the names. Crocodile Froggy. We got to Batman, and we just lost ourselves.
Right.
So Crocodile Froggy comes in to save the day because for some reason the crocodiles become the villains when they were just Fozzie's swim coaches.
Yeah, they all of a sudden decide to eat him and start chasing him around.
Yeah. But Fozzie shoos them away. But what actually stopped them is one of the more confusing things that's ever happened.
Yeah, I think I know what happened, but I don't know why they did it this way.
Tell me what you think happened.
I think the real Crocodile Dundee showed up, and yelled at the or was just there, and the crocodiles were like, "Oh shit, it's that guy." But they don't show like his legs or anything like that. The babies are talking to this viewer, basically. Like the viewer is Crocodile Dundee, and then you hear his voice.
Yeah.
But like, would they like not? Would Crocodile Dundee have sued them if he had drawn their if he had
his boots,
his boots
like,
or something? My famous
you just have
boots.
to show me that there is someone there, but they turn to look at an off-screen Australian man, who is just like talking to them, and he's not even saying catchphrases from Crocodile Dundee or anything.
No, he doesn't say that's not a knife or nothing.
Yeah, and so I was very confused by this part of just who's this mysterious person who stopped the crocodiles.
He must have been so famous that you didn't even have to see his boot. Everybody was just always thinking about Crocodile Dundee. So then,
as someone who has never seen a Crocodile Dundee, is he actually known for interacting with or scaring away crocodiles in any way?
I think so. He's just like a rugged outdoorsman Australian guy. And I've only seen parts of Crocodile Dundee 2 or whatever where he goes to Hollywood.
That's not the first one?
I don't know. Maybe
first one he goes to New York City, apparently. Okay.
The second one he goes to Hollywood and is like breaking up a drug ring or something like that. So.
Oh, I think that's the third one, Sam.
Oh, wow. I didn't know there even was a third one.
There's a Crocodile Dundee 2, which seems to be also in New York. And then there's Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles, which came out in 2001?
What the hell? Really?
Yeah, no, it came in 4th place at the box office behind Bridget Jones's Diary, Spy Kids, and Along Came a Spider.
It got released in theaters?
Yeah.
Wow.
There wasn't streaming back then. They had to.
They had to do it to him.
Wild.
According to Wikipedia, he got bit by a crocodile. So actually, those crocodiles should have been like, yum,
is this a Spider-Man situation? Where he did not become Crocodile Dundee until he was bit by a crocodile?
Yes.
I feel like between Max Headroom and Crocodile Dundee, there's a lot of
this is like
stuff
the two most
that we don't know about.
Popular 80s things that we don't know jack shit about. They didn't make the jump to the new millennium.
Well, Scooter decides to teach Fozzie about some less scary animals in the water.
More
like
sad, though.
Dolphins.
Yeah, but they're all at SeaWorld.
Yeah. They don't actually like venture out into the ocean to talk about dolphins and orcas or anything. They take them to SeaWorld to show them off. And this is the moment that pissed me off in this episode.
Okay.
So they get Fozzie dressed up in a bunch of scuba gear, and he dives into the pool.
Mm-hmm.
No hesitation.
Oh, okay.
We come back into the real world, out of the imagination, and he's in the pool.
Yeah. So
and he just
succeeded.
Did it.
Yeah, right.
He's just in the pool now. Like
then they moved the goalpost on him, and they're like,
"Yes,
you have too much stuff on, Fozzie. You can't swim like that. You don't know how to swim, but you can't wear all this flotation stuff."
Yeah, you haven't taken one swim lesson yet.
We also don't know how to swim.
But that's happened before in Muppet Babies, and it always annoys me.
Yeah.
When you resolve the plot in such a off-screen way, and nobody acknowledges it.
Right.
Like Kermit isn't like, Fozzie, you did it.
Right.
You're in the pool. Don't be afraid anymore.
The person who's writing the episode doesn't even realize that they have done this.
Precisely.
Yeah.
They have the idea of dropping him in the water, and then they go, cool, next.
Yeah.
Well, this is the part of the episode where we finally get the beach blanket bingo sequence, where we also sort of get our first song in a while.
Yeah.
It is listed on Muppet Wiki as a song. I'm going to challenge Muppet Wiki.
Yeah, I guess the people who usually write the songs were not involved in this situation.
Yeah, and I'll also challenge Muppet Wiki because I think on one of the other episodes we watched this week, there's a note that says that it's a rarity that like this episode doesn't have a song in it. It's like a fun fact of like, unlike most episodes of Muppet Babies, this one doesn't have a song.
It's not. Yeah.
We are in an era of no songs.
Unless they really turn things around in later seasons, which seems like it would surprise me if they all of a sudden were like, time to do songs again.
I feel like there is something missing with the songs in some episodes. I feel like they could use it.
Yeah.
And I do wonder, I haven't looked into if the songwriting team is off doing something else, if they will be back, if, they're going to hire a new songwriting team or what happens. But next time we get a song in an episode, I'll look it up. But this one is, like we said before, maybe the worst song Muppet Babies has ever done.
Yep.
I'll even retract the maybe, because they're pretty much just talking over a light soundtrack
for
and
30
they do like
seconds
3
or something.
lines
Yeah.
and they bail on it.
Yeah. I'm worried about Rolf.
He's losing his purpose week by week.
Yeah.
Why am
Maybe
I
this
even
is
here?
like when we meet Rolf as an adult originally, he's not a musician. So maybe he really has like drifted away from it when he's on Jimmy Dean, you know? He's not a piano guy.
Yeah, no, he hasn't even touched a piano
Like,
at that point.
I haven't played a piano since I was a baby.
Well, then Gonzo and Animal show up as the mean biker gang.
I really liked this, though. I thought this was pretty good.
This is when Rolf suggests a surfing contest to see who gets to use this spot of the beach. And the babies nominate Fozzie to be their surfer.
What are they what's their game here? Are they just trying to like gaslight Fozzie into forgetting that he doesn't know
I think
how
it's a
to
little like
swim?
immersion therapy of just like, if you do this, you'll truly conquer your fear of the water.
Yeah. And it does work on him because Kermit has to be the one who's like, you'll die if you do this, Fozzie.
Well, yeah, because he even, Kermit then takes Fozman's place. I assume there's some references here that we don't understand because I've never seen...
Eric Von Zipper is the bad guy in Beach Blanket Bingo and Gonzo Von Zipper. So they didn't really try very hard with that one. But I did like Animal Von Button. I thought that was a pretty good counterpoint.
Yeah, I've never... the closest I've come to seeing one of these movies is I saw Frankie Avalon in person once when I was a kid at a concert. My parents took me to go see a stage performance of Grease, and the whole thing was that Frankie Avalon was actually in it, playing the same role he does in the movie.
Beach Blanket Bingo is part of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 episode or 12 movie series.
That's so many.
Including a movie called The Ghost in the Invisible Bikini.
Oh boy. Oh, I can't imagine that age well.
The film features the cast cavorting in and around a haunted house in the adjacent swimming pool. This actually sounds like a movie that was made specifically for me.
It does. Notable, Buster Keaton is in Beach Blanket Bingo.
Oh, wow. Dr. Goldfoot and the Bikini Machine.
Is that a different movie?
Watch these. That's a different movie. Yeah.
I imagine there's a couple like 65-year-olds doing a podcast about these. Well, Kermit is going to surf in Fozzie's place, undoing the entire point of the episode. But Fozzie the lifeguard needs to step in because he has to go save Kermit after he has a terrible wipeout. And this is the point where Nanny comes in to ask, how would you guys like some hot dogs for lunch? And the kids go, dope. Let's quit splash around the pool. Let's go eat some hot dogs.
Done playing. Time to eat hot dogs.
Fozzie says, I'm excited for swim lessons, Nanny. And she's like, cool. I didn't know you weren't. Because I didn't check in all day.
I left a swimming pool in the middle of your playroom and then I left.
Yeah. I left a drownable amount of water in the middle of the room and walked away.
The wood under the carpet ruined forever. I must replace everything.
And then Gonzo, for some reason, doesn't get out of the pool and cracks a weird joke to Kermit about being the water inspector to make sure the water is wet enough. And Kermit turns to the camera and goes, oh boy.
And that was like 1/3 of the episode, it felt like. Gonzo's just splashing around and lying about... I hated it.
And the go bye-bye is Gonzo teaching Animal how to do a cannonball. Animal grabs a cannon, shoves Gonzo in it, and shoots him, presumably out to space.
Thus awakening a fetish in Gonzo that will persist through the rest of his life.
But yeah, I think I just had momentary gripes with that episode that made me not like it that much. And I think just introducing the crocodiles was a weird choice, and then pivoting to and now they're the bad guys was, I think, weird for me. But the biggest problem I had with it was Fozzie's problem being solved accidentally.
Right. The crocodile thing sucked, and they should have just expanded the beach party aspect of it into the whole episode. Because that part I thought was really fun.
Yeah, it's very interesting when they have these episode titles. They clearly had an idea for something, and they save it for the last 8 minutes of an episode.
Right.
And the next thing we watched in our order, because between the next two Muppet Babies episodes is when A Muppet Family Christmas aired, is we watched Jim Henson and Kermit appear on Entertainment Tonight to discuss A Muppet Family Christmas. And yeah, this opens up with Kermit saying, we don't work together that much anymore. We used to work together all the time on The Muppet Show, but these days, we don't do that much.
I don't like that he's been saying that so much lately. It makes me sad.
Well, it also, this undoes my theory of Muppet Family Christmas being the canon.
I was thinking the same exact thing. This does kind of blow it out of the water. But I guess you can't say there was cameras at our thing. The Office hadn't been invented yet, and that's, there's not mockumentaries yet.
Yeah, he clarifies that this was a production that they put on, that Miss Piggy was wonderful to work with.
Yeah.
And doesn't lean into any sort of relationship talk between the two of them.
He shuts it down pretty quick. He doesn't even play along with the oh, I don't know. But it does.
Yeah, we seem to have moved on from the Muppets Take Manhattan wedding question of, well,
Right.
you guys did get married in a movie. Was that real?
Yeah.
I think we're a few years out now and people have moved on.
Yeah, and Kermit's just like, I'm not talking about this anymore. But yeah, I mean, if this isn't real, then basically nothing has ever happened to the Muppets. They just live
except they've been on a lot of talk shows.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just actors who live as boring a life as anybody could ever live.
Mm-hmm.
No notable gossip or anything like that. Kermit just is on talk shows.
Yeah, they're just like a brat pack where it's like, yeah, we work together a lot, but
yeah,
we
maybe
don't
we're
actually
not even
live
that
together in one big house.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what we really need. We need the Muppet documentary / mockumentary where we're looking back into what was actually going on
the whole time
while they were making all these movies.
Yeah, I guess like Electric Mayhem TV show, that was pretty close to a mockumentary at some points. Like,
well, they had the one mockumentary episode.
Yeah, but maybe I could assume that happened. But then definitely the Miss Piggy, The Office, like the Muppets
2015.
Yeah, that one maybe also happened. I don't know.
I don't think anything happened.
Nothing happened to them. Nothing's real.
These are all fake.
Yep. Muppets, they aren't even real. He's a guy. He's a puppet. So that sucks.
What are we doing with our lives?
Yeah.
Sam? Dissecting all these not real things.
Yeah.
Well, the host refers to Jim Henson as Kermit's alter ego, which I enjoyed. And then Jim talks about his Alfred Hitchcock-like cameos.
I thought that was fun. I like that Jim's like, this was really stupid that I did this, basically, for the rest of the interview.
Well, we've had people point this out since we talked about it in the Muppet Family Christmas, that there is this pattern at this point with the 30th anniversary special. Jim was left with the bill. And so in Muppet Family Christmas, he's left to take care of the dishes. I think that makes sense as like a running gag, but because he is so joyful in Muppet Family Christmas and so happy to do it, it doesn't come across as a running gag.
Yeah.
That like, ugh, I can't believe they left me with all these dishes again. So I think that makes sense as like what they were probably thinking about having Jim do these cameos.
Do they do it again ever?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
I don't know how many more things like this we have to insert a gag into.
Yeah. He certainly has like a godlike demeanor in Muppet Family Christmas that is lacking in the 30th anniversary, but
this ends with them asking if Kermit has any advice on how to cope with holiday stress. And he says, no, I don't have any advice. I think anybody who would take advice from a frog about stress at Christmas time would probably be a rather sick person.
Yeah, Jim was not playing along very well in this interview.
No, there's a lot of no but in this one.
He had somewhere else to be, so he had to hurry up with this one.
He's like, I gotta go hang out with a giant lion on my new CGI green screen show.
Things to do.
We're gonna blow your mind next year. Just you wait.
Yeah, this was fine, but it did make me kind of sad for all the reasons that you've already outlined, where it's like, oh, I guess they didn't really go to Fozzie's mom's for Christmas. I guess that lady's probably not even really Fozzie's mom, just some actor. Who knows?
But then the next episode of Muppet Babies we watched is Old McKermit Had a Farm from December 19th.
He barely even has a freaking farm in this episode.
Yeah, this is a lot less about farming than I thought it was going to be. This episode is from December 19th, 1987. It is the 14th episode of season 4, written by Rich Fogel and Mark Seidenberg, who I said this last time and I'll say it again. I like their dialogue choices. I don't like their stories. The way they write lines for characters is very different than anybody else is writing for these characters. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's just like a little noticeable, like, interesting. Nanny wouldn't say those words, I feel like, in another episode. Which I enjoy that difference coming in, but I just don't love their stories so much.
It's like a little bit more naturalistic and like laid back or something than usual, maybe.
Yeah.
But they write Bunsen and Beaker very different, I would say, too. Because this Bunsen and Beaker have much more in common with their adult versions than I feel like we've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Like, Beaker is tortured in this. And
Yeah.
I think there was maybe another time when something bad happened to Beaker and we were like, oh, it's worse when it's happening to a baby. But this is like extended amounts of on-screen torture for poor Beaker.
Well, and I feel like they're leaning far enough into the cartoonish side of it that I didn't mind it this time. As he gets like put through a machine and turned into a cube.
Yeah, I mean, that's horrible.
Oh yeah, if you think about it too hard.
Yeah,
for sure. Especially because he gets to show off like he can shapeshift more into a cube than Puppet Beaker would be able to.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, this episode's all about babies not knowing where muffins come from.
Great concept for an episode. And it does feel like they accidentally became about that. Like, you don't set out to write an episode about where muffins come from. Why would you do that and then also not say anything about where muffins actually come from? I suppose at the end they sort of do.
Maybe you're sitting in the writer's room and somebody goes, hey, you guys got that new episode pitch ready yet? And they're like,
look around the room.
Yes, it's about blueberry muffins.
Great, I love it.
Whew, thanks. I'm glad, because I had nothing else.
And then you say, I have to go to the bathroom now and write the episode really fast.
Well, Bunsen and Beaker are here with Bunsen's favorite game, Twister.
That makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Not literally any other game.
He uses Beaker as the spinner on a giant spinner, which, again, I do like that. It is weirder when they're babies.
Yeah.
But I do like that he has no regard for Beaker's safety or well-being.
And this is like a change in their relationship. Early on in their knowing of each other, he wasn't like this. At some point, he became a monster.
Well, even when we saw him sort of be tortured in the past Muppet Babies episodes, it was more by accident.
Yeah.
Whereas this is very clearly on purpose.
Like, I'm strapping you to this device now.
And it's got a little bit of a, well, you know what's coming next, Beaker.
Already, we've been through the routine enough, Beaker. And
you brought in the spinner. There's no big arrow in the middle to use as a spinner. You know what we got to do.
Yeah.
We do this at home all the time.
This is the rest of your life. And guess what? You'll never die.
You may wish you did, but you never will. But this section ends with Animal eating the Twister mat, which I believe these guys were also the ones who wrote a lot of Animal swallowing things whole previously.
Oh, yeah.
He ate the train set, he ate the blocks, and now he's swallowing an entire Twister mat.
He's eating toys, huh?
Yeah.
Also, he ate Bunsen's favorite game. And Bunsen doesn't care. Bunsen doesn't care about anything.
No. But it is snack time, and Bunsen says, I hope Nanny has some of her fantastic blueberry muffins like she had the last time we were over. And Rolf assures him, she always has those.
Muffins, man. What the fuck? I thought it was funny that it was also revealed that she didn't make these blueberry muffins. She just buys them at the store.
They also, again, like, I don't mind inconsistencies in a cartoon baby show, really. But the difference in episodes where they wait around all day starving because Nanny hasn't brought them the snacks yet, versus in this, they're like, it's snack time. Let's just go to the kitchen and get our own food.
Yeah.
But Piggy does open the tin, and they're all gone. So Piggy tells Nanny they're all gone. And this is one of those
brutal
Fogel and Seidenberg lines.
Yeah.
Nanny says, well, of course there aren't. You ate the last 3 yourself.
Yeah, what the heck, Nanny?
It's like the jam spilling on the carpet line.
Uh-huh.
Where she's like, yeah, you got it. You got it all over the carpet.
Right. It does feel like a difference between people who maybe weren't into the Muppets compared to these people who do seem to have a much more of a familiarity with the adult Muppets, like the concept of the Muppets and the running gags that are present in a Muppet production. For better or for worse, because, I don't necessarily want to hear Nanny shaming Piggy, but that is like a Muppet thing.
I look forward to these guys' episodes for the outside the box writing, not necessarily for the stories. But I am glad that they have a new voice in the room. Nanny reassures Piggy, hey, no worries, I'm just about to order some more from the grocery store, so I'll give you a snack once they're delivered.
Nanny can't leave the house either. It's starting to seem like
she has before.
Yeah.
She has left
them alone.
To go grocery shopping specifically.
This is more responsible than Nanny usually is, actually, because she's not like, oh, run right out and get some. Good luck.
Yeah, so she's not allowed to leave anymore. So maybe that's why she's getting more frustrated and a little bit more cutting in her remarks.
She got yelled at. Somebody said, Nanny, where's all your children?
Officer Carruthers came over and was like, hey, you can't keep leaving these kids alone.
That's why he lives next door. He's got to keep an eye on Nanny.
Yeah, he's monitoring the situation. Well, the babies are like, wow, a supermarket? I wonder what a supermarket is.
It's so many, and then they cram so many ideas at once because the supermarket is giant for some reason.
I think that's what makes it super.
But also superhero shop there. They could have picked one or the other, but they didn't.
The only line of this entire thing that is helpful is when they kick off, they get to the supermarket in their fantasy, and they learn that supermarkets are organized by sections.
Sure.
There's a dairy section, there's a bakery, so we should go to the bakery if we want to find blueberry muffins.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, we are actually learning something from Muppet Babies.
A practical, real-life thing you wouldn't learn in school.
No, that's one of those things where at some point a kid has to learn that.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, kids don't know there are sections to the grocery store.
Right.
And they are taught. And so I was like, oh, we are teaching kids something in this episode that could actually be helpful in their life to know. But then it's so undone by everything else in the episode.
Yeah. They're not giant, for one.
I mean, when you're little, everything feels kind of giant.
But they're like as small as a can of soup in this situation.
I wish I could go back sometimes and like remember what. You go back to, I don't know if you've ever gone back to like a grade school or high school and you're like, wow, this place is tiny.
Tiny.
All these lockers are so small and these desks are so small. And you're like, it didn't feel like that when I was here.
It used to be normal sized.
Yeah. But I maybe have even said this on the podcast before, but like I feel like there's money to be made in experiences of like 30% bigger things.
Oh, yeah.
For adults to go do, like a playground that's like 30% bigger.
Right.
So you feel the danger of crossing the monkey bars because you're like, if I fall, my knees are shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's
or like an actual like climbing up to get to the slide is a little harder than it would be now, where you just like step up.
This sounds terrifying though, because when you're a kid, you can fall off the monkey bars and be like, I fell off the monkey bars. But when you're a grown up, you're like, I gotta lay down for 1 week.
Maybe we'll have to put like the foam, like foam pads and foam pits underneath everything to make it safe for us old guys.
You get on the monkey bars and they put a vest on you, and they put you have like a clip with a rope on it. You could like dangle off.
I'm fine with safety precautions. I want to feel that little bit of danger you have where you're like, what if I climbed around the outside of this play place? And like just barely grab on to this thing, and it's like you just have that little bit of fear. And I know some people will do bungee jumping and skydiving to get this kind of thrill that I'm talking about, but I want a more you know,
we're like, what if we invented a game where we kicked each other in the head? Wouldn't that be fun?
Or like this isn't necessarily what I want to recreate, but we used to do a game where we would have people hang from the monkey bars, and then you'd use your legs to fight each other and try to pull the other person off the monkey bars.
Of course. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. I don't remember what we called that. Probably something offensive.
You just want to go beyond American Gladiators is what it sounds like.
Maybe.
Probably.
Or like American Ninja Warrior, but like for the not fit people. Because like the course, like Wipeout, American Ninja Warrior, those courses look fun.
Yeah.
But could you slow them down by like 70%?
A little easier, please, for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I just want like a public Wipeout course that you can go to at your own speed.
American regular guy warrior.
Yeah. Man, maybe warrior is even too strong of a word.
Yeah.
American regular guy, slightly more exhausted activities. I feel like you could have bachelor parties and stuff there. Like, I feel like people would rent that out for a weekend.
Well, Matt, you become the change you want to see in the world.
I start constructing a scaled up playground in my front yard, and people are like, oh, it's the weird playground guy.
Yeah, it's a sick poor man. Pretty soon you got your own Officer Carruthers moving in next door.
And then a child comes by and gets horribly hurt on
Yeah,
my
too big
oversized
for
playground.
you. No kids allowed.
Yeah, it's a no kids allowed playground is what this is. Well, getting back to the episode, Bunsen and Beaker have a super cool Wacky Racers style shopping cart that they're going to use to drive the babies around the supermarket, which they almost immediately crash.
Mm-hmm.
And all the babies get stuck in big pieces of fruit.
They really make a meal out of this weird fruit thing, too.
Which, again, I'm not always... Overall, I don't love their episodes. The moments they choose to include, I do feel like they're doing things that no one else would want to do. Or
somebody's got to do it.
Yes.
Somebody's got to stick these babies in fruit.
Because it leads to Skeeter with a great line saying, slight miscalculation, Bunsen. I'm a grapefruit.
Grapefruit. Did make me think it would be funnier if Bunsen had invented some kind of imaginary machine that turned them into fruit or something. Then they could experience the supply chain.
Yeah, that'd be better than just crashing into fruit.
Yeah.
Well, they end up in the frozen food section, and I wrote in my notes at this point, oh my God, we're only 8 minutes into this episode.
This is where I 100% of the time will pause an episode, be like, surely I'm halfway done. It's always 8 minutes. 8 minutes is as much Muppet Babies as I can take, which if it was a regular cartoon, there would only be 3 minutes left or 4 minutes left. So
yeah, the 8 minute mark is rough, both from the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
Because usually the 8 minute mark is when they're sort of getting to they should be wrapping up, but they can't because they have so much time left. And the 8 minute mark from the end is when they've done that twice now.
Yep.
And then they're like, okay, well, the last 8 minutes, we really got to stretch.
And in this episode, they basically have the same exact fantasy sequence twice. But at this point, when they're in the frozen food part, Piggy comes out and she's blue because she's dying. She's like, I'm turning blue like Gonzo. Then Gonzo starts helping her die.
Yes. He's like, ooh, I love it when she's blue. What if I put more ice around her to make her even colder?
He hasn't been pervy on her as much lately.
No.
That's something that's been downplayed. This is a pervis he's been in a long time. And it's super pervy. He's trying to kill her.
This could be like a weird Mr. Freeze subplot.
Oh, yeah.
But instead of like having to save her life by freezing her, he's like, yeah, let's not talk about why she's frozen. Let's just talk about the fact that I love her. And she does happen to be frozen.
And if it was a Muppet Babies fantasy sequence, he'd be called like Mr. Nose.
Mr. Sneeze.
Oh, that's okay. That's pretty good. But not again, what it would be.
Right. It's too good is the problem. We go to too good and then we pull back a couple degrees.
Damn, Mr. Sneeze is great.
I think we've come up with a pretty solid Muppet Batman parody.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Now, Disney famously does not own Batman, so that's going to be a problem.
I think part of your parody is that Wayne Knight would be playing Batman. Is that right?
Wayne Knight would show up as a celebrity cameo.
Like, not you, the Dark
Yeah,
Knight,
maybe it's a
Wayne
multiverse thing where we get a lot of Batmans.
Yeah.
And Wayne Knight is one of the Batmans.
Okay. And it's a joke that only makes sense to you.
Everyone knows his name.
I guess so.
And we could have like a bunch of, there's Batman, there's Man-Bat, there's the Dark Knight, there's Bruce Wayne, there's Wayne Knight.
Oh, okay, that's pretty good.
What was that last one?
This is like an Animaniacs joke, is what you're writing right now.
I mean, maybe. And boy, can I picture Wayne Knight drawn in Animaniacs style.
And then he's like, oh, okay, I guess I'll leave.
Well, the babies do reach the bakery section right about 8-9 minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
But then giants rush in and take all the muffins.
Giant superheroes.
Yes. Dressed more like professional wrestlers than superheroes. And this is when the babies are defeated and they go, well, muffins must come from somewhere.
You imagined it this way, you little idiots. Just imagine it different.
Yeah. Just imagine you turn around and you're like, oh,
more muffins.
I found another box of muffins.
There was one box left.
But no. Instead, Kermit says, maybe they come from a farm. And so we get our farm imagination sequence.
I do like Scooters in the background being like, excuse me, please listen to me throughout most of this episode, trying to tell them that he knows where muffins actually come from.
Yeah. Why doesn't Bunsen know?
That is a great question. And yeah, I don't understand that at all. Bunsen invents stuff. He doesn't know stuff. Maybe that's maybe that's the case.
There's another moment in this that feels like the "ya" or whatever it was moment in Sesame Street, where it felt like the people writing it thought they knew the right thing, but in Sesame Street they didn't know to say yeehaw. They said like "ya."
Yeah.
In this, Animal is the rooster waking everyone up.
Yes.
And what he says is cockle cockle doo.
Yeah.
Cockle cockle doo.
And is that Animal
cockle
being weird?
Doodle doo for everyone out there would be more correct.
Is that Animal being weird, or we just live in Montana? We know what a rooster says.
We know roosters. My neighbor's got a couple of them.
Is that true?
There's a rooster that's a couple blocks away, but close enough for me to hear it in the mornings.
That sucks, yeah. Right outside city limits where a rooster's got to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't. It doesn't wake me up. It's not that close. But if I'm letting my dog out in the morning, sometimes I'll just hear the like.
You'll hear that beautiful cockle cockle do.
It is unfortunately not that melodic. It's often just more of a loud squawking. Well, the babies start to pick muffins from the muffin trees on the farm. Kermit sends Fozzie to get muffin seeds. Much like we've seen in the past, they send Fozzie away because he's useless.
Yeah.
And he proves it because he does not come back with muffin seeds. He comes back with bird seed.
I hate this episode so much.
When they have thousands of birds bust out of the ground.
Yeah, I guess.
You don't know until that moment that he got the wrong seed, but thousands of birds burst from the ground.
Like that, huh?
And your brain goes, he must have got bird seed.
Sure.
I enjoyed that.
Okay.
But then this is when Scooter steps in to inform the kids that you can't grow muffins, you have to make them. Which Gonzo, famously familiar with chickens, teaches us that eggs come from eggplants.
Good, great point. He'd know exactly where eggs come from.
Yeah, but they don't want Gonzo saying the word cloaca, I don't think.
Yeah. Do you think Gonzo eats Camilla's eggs? He must. I'd say absolutely yes.
I agree with you. I just didn't want to have to say it out loud because it's a challenging idea.
I should probably fine with it.
Right, but is it sexual in nature? Is there something where this is part of their romance?
I suppose if this was part of human culture, yes. No one would be allowed to eat your egg except for...
Yeah. It's a bit like, I don't know, drinking breast milk?
Yes.
From your partner? Like,
sure.
It is...
I mean, it's exactly the same, I'd say.
If there's a world in which Camilla, I think you could frame it non-sexually, surely, but we're us. But you could frame it in a way where, you know, hey, this is great. Gonzo gets fresh eggs every morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
He's just eating eggs.
He's saving some
No
money.
one draws too much attention to it. But it's certainly weird if they're coming from your girlfriend.
I think best case scenario, he's not best case, but the most you could hope for is that he's throwing the eggs away, but as he's throwing the eggs away, he's definitely thinking, I could have eaten that egg. He's just too polite to ask.
Well, we also see that the eggs are being picked from the eggplants by hens.
Mm-hmm.
And then sorted and packaged by Bunsen. I guess none of these hens ever point out to Gonzo that this isn't where they come from.
Yeah. It just bothered me so much that we went back to a farm twice. 2 different farms, I suppose.
Yes. This farm is disturbing for many reasons. I think, one, the Gonzo egg dilemma that we've just raised.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a moment which I can only really equate to that moment in The Shining when they look in the door and they see the guy in the bear suit blowing the fancy dude.
Yeah.
There's a moment where Kermit opens a door to the Easter egg department.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Animal in bunny ears throwing paint around a room at a giant spinning egg.
This part was very like Twin Peaks also, just like, I've seen something that's revealed some dark nature of the universe.
I'm glad you felt that too, because it just felt unsettling for some reason that they would just, throw meat to Animal while he makes their Easter eggs or something.
Then he just works on one at a time and he splatters it. Yeah, it's horrid. It's scary. And it does. It's the bear costume guy. I think that's pretty accurate. I wasn't supposed to see this, is the feeling you get.
And then this episode becomes a lot about eggs.
Oh.
As Bunsen wants to make square eggs, which ends up with Beaker falling into the square egg machine, which seems like a thing that they...
though. It would be a great idea.
Square eggs?
They'd be easier to ship.
I guess.
Much like the square watermelons, you know?
Yeah, but I feel like they've figured out.
Yeah, I guess the egg carton is maybe one of the perfect devices in the world.
Yeah, and you can just stack those.
Uh-huh.
I know there are people on the internet who make square boiled eggs.
Oh, okay.
Like they're making hard-boiled eggs or whatever, and then they put them in like a cube-shaped thing once they're soft. Doing that to hard eggs, obviously...
difficult.
A little bit more difficult. I did like that they cut back to the real world and they built some sort of cardboard box version of the square egg machine that we actually get to see Beaker coming out of.
Yeah.
So again, whenever they cut back to real world stuff and it is interacting, I'm all in favor of that.
Yep.
So Scooter finally explains to the babies how to mix ingredients and bake them. This leads to Fozzie imagining he's a baker, a thing that maybe the babies didn't know existed before now.
It seems like it. Yeah. And a thing that maybe the entire episode should have been about.
Yeah. But much like their last imagination, a lot of blueberries.
Yeah.
So he uses silly gooseberries instead. This leads to the extended end of the episode stretching for time sequence where the dough becomes silly, starts tickling him, and breaks up in flubber-like fashion to run around and have to be caught by the babies. And they, I guess, presumably murder the silly goose muffins.
They have to cook it alive. And the little berries inside also die because they have faces and stuff too.
And this is when Nanny comes in with the snack. And Bunsen says, I never realized getting food was so much work. Which is apparently the lesson they were trying to teach kids in this episode.
And they could have easily taught you everything about it.
They could have taught us about real farming and where blueberries actually come from and what a baker is.
Yeah, it still could have been interesting.
But instead, they just try to, like the worst episodes of Fraggle Rock, they try to tack on a lesson at the very end and say, and that's what we taught you the whole time.
Yes.
We
if
promise.
you didn't understand that, you're stupid as a baby.
But the kids dive into their blueberry muffins, and that wraps up the episode.
Yeah.
The go bye-bye is one that we've talked about this before. Sometimes these go bye-byes feel like they're from other episodes.
This one absolutely must have been. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe the person who posted this episode online just recorded a rerun that was re-edited. Because in this one, Gonzo is the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Animal shows up to be his helper. He gets scared and he falls.
I like that Animal was also a hunchback. I think that was pretty fun.
His assistant, also a hunchback. Yeah. But it definitely was like, okay, this has nothing to do with the plot of this episode. So I'm guessing this is maybe not from this one.
And if it's not, what's wrong with them?
And lastly, this week we watched Adventures in Muppet-Sitting from December 26th, 1987. Written by Star Kaplan and Maya Matisse, a duo we have seen before. Mm-hmm. This episode kicks off with Gonzo showing up at a U.S. Army fort, letting the Muppets, who are dressed up like characters from F Troop, know they are under attack.
Not familiar with F Troop like you are, I guess.
I was not familiar with F Troop, but the costumes and characters in this section were so specific that I knew they had to be from something that I was too young to understand.
Yeah, okay.
And I was right, because it is F Troop, a show that aired in the mid-60s that was set in the 1860s. But Piggy shows up as G.I. Piggy in a tank, who at that point I assumed, she's the one attacking the fort that Gonzo was warning us about. Turns out, no, I think Piggy just maybe wanted to play a different part of U.S.
American
Army.
Military history.
Yeah. She's like, yeah. 1860s not interesting. I'm going to be from World War II.
I like tank warfare. That's what I'm more interested in.
Yeah. Horses. Pff, watch this.
Yeah. Miss Piggy has a secret room in her house where she's painting little models.
But it turns out the actual attackers are giant ants. Because there are real ants in the nursery because Animal knocked over Scooter's ant farm. And the babies have to help get the ants back in the ant farm.
Yeah, completely inconceivable that would be possible, but they do a great job.
Yeah, Gonzo sets out a trail of crumbs, and Skeeter uses her trumpet, which she does actually have in a real world,
Yeah.
to call the army ants back into their ant farm. And in the process of this, the fort they were playing in gets ruined, and they blame it immediately on Animal.
Yeah, did he knock the ant farm over too? I think maybe that's part of it.
I think he did, but I think the fort got damaged because they were like fighting the ants in their imagination.
Right.
But they're blaming the fort destruction on Animal specifically.
It was a butterfly effect kind of situation.
Yeah. And this is when they declare he's just too little to play fort with us. But don't worry, we got more babies, because Nanny comes in to share that Robin is here to visit.
And the babies know immediately that means that Animal will try to kill him.
Well, to be fair, Fozzie, I think, also would have killed Robin if he was left alone. Because Piggy is like, ooh, we'll be Robin's babysitters. And Fozzie says, who gets to sit on him first?
Gruesome. I also was rankled by how little this had to do with babysitting at all.
The concept of the episode seems to be, from this point, that Animal and Robin are babies who need protecting and can't do anything on their own. And so the Muppet Babies must step up, present a good example, and take care of them.
And kind of distract them, too, with, like, low-impact games or something like that.
Right. Like, I think they're trying to do a good job of showing what babysitters can do with babies. But what they're actually showing is that Animal and Robin don't need babysitting at all. Like, they are perfectly fine on their own. They even create some of the games that the Muppet Babies are like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But there's not a moment.
There's a nod at the end where they're like, thanks, Animal and Robin. But there's no through line, really.
Yeah. And they don't, there's not like a reckoning moment where they acknowledge that, like, these two babies actually are big enough to play with us. But Animal does take Robin out of his fishbowl immediately when the babies have their backs turned. And they have to chase after him with the cavalry to get Robin back. And this is when they decide, we got to watch these two.
We can't have them flying off cliffs.
Yeah, they say, you guys are too little to jump off the furniture, which,
Animal is not. Animal has done some horrible things in his life.
Animal has climbed and eaten most of the furniture in this nursery.
Yeah.
But it's time for screen time for the babies, because the immediate idea is Skeeter suggests that Scooter shows Animal and Robin how the airplane program on his computer works.
Giving the kid an iPad. You got any games on this thing? That's what baby Animal's going to be saying.
So Scooter and Skeeter are flying around, presumably in this, I guess it's a video game they're playing. It's not really clear what's happening.
It's like a flight simulator, maybe?
Yeah, but it also could have just been one of those CD-ROMs that was like, the history of airplanes.
Right.
Look at this plane.
Knowing Scooter.
Yeah.
That's what it
Well,
would
also
be.
the era of what existed.
Right.
Like, there wasn't a lot of flight simulators kicking around in 87.
And if there was one, it was probably like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Well, Scooter and Skeeter are flying around. Then the Blue Baron interferes, which is Gonzo. And then Animal and Robin join in with a fighter jet. And that's literally pretty much all that happens.
Yeah, it's like almost the point of the episode is that they start playing a game and then Animal and Robin get too rough with it.
Right.
But that's not really like, it doesn't bear out in the real world.
No, and they don't start like shooting them down and ruining everything.
They just pop up in everything doing their own thing, such as being R2-D2.
Well, once the plane game is done, it's time for a new game for the babies. And they're going to do shadow puppets on the wall, where Rolf is making duck noises while making the best shadow dog I've ever seen.
Yeah, I had to rewind this one a couple times to be like, is he trying to bark? Or what is happening?
It'd be really funny if Rolf can't bark in the Muppet Babies universe. Just, quack, quack, quack.
Yeah.
Am I doing it?
That was so confusing. He's like, whack, 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 whack.
It just looks like a golden retriever's head or whatever in the shadow form. Looks nothing like a duck.
Yeah,
and he's quacking. Fozzie makes a chicken, and Piggy makes a cat. Fozzie's chicken looks a little better than Rolf's duck, and Piggy's cat is spot on. Yeah, I don't know how she got those angles on the ears. Very sharp triangular ears on that cat.
This one is like also you could make an episode about shadow puppets, and you can make an episode about flying airplanes, and you can make an episode about ants, and then you have 3 episodes and you're 1/3 of the way done with the season of Muppet Babies.
Yeah, but then we've got 24 minutes of them talking about planes.
They can go meet the Wright brothers. They could fly jets. They could do a
It'd be the
parody
Wrong
of,
brothers played by Gonzo and Fozzie.
yes, they'd be called the Nose Brothers. Matt, not the Wrong brothers.
But they fall off the Gonzo Nose Bridge, and they discover that Robin and Animal have made shadow puppets on their own. And this is another moment where you're like, Robin and Animal seem extremely competent
They'd
in
be
this
called
moment.
Will Fozzie and
Will Bear.
Will Bear. No, that's too good, man. Damn it, you're good at this. Will Fozzie and Orgonzo Nose. That's what they'd be called. Will Bear. Damn you, Matt.
Will Bear wrong. Well, Piggy decides in this moment, hey, you know what? Let's do a puppet show for Robin and Animal. Yes, this is the same thing we just did, but it's not shadows this time. It's hand puppets.
Though it is also shadows when we go back to the real world, right?
I don't remember.
It's gone back to shadows, I think.
There's moments throughout this where I feel like they should have cut back to the nursery to show what was happening.
Yes, this when Yoda shows up, what's going on here?
Yeah, so this is the concept is that Piggy wants to tell the story of Little Pink Riding Hood, and I think this is going to be the divisive part of this episode of the podcast.
Okay.
Where it feels to me, Sam, like this is your least favorite part.
I just couldn't possibly care less about anything that's happening in this part. It's one of those things where it's the clearest example we've had in a long time of we have a bunch of time left to fill at the end of this episode. Let's do something completely unrelated to the babysitting idea that we've had. They don't even use Robin, and like Robin might as well not even be in this episode.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the Robin of it all is pretty much unnecessary. Yeah. The reason I like this section is because we've talked about this a few times. There's episodes that feel like the feeling you get when you're kids playing in imaginary worlds.
Right.
And you toss out ideas and it just becomes the next part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of nonsense if you try to recite it back to somebody. But there's fun versions of that and not fun versions of that. And to me, this was one where all the characters, where they would normally fight each other when someone tries to come in and take over the story.
Right.
Every baby in this is yes-anding.
They're running with it. That's a good point. And it does kind of have the nice, like, playing with all the toys in the toy box kind of feeling.
Which is why I think it would have been helped had they cut back and you saw Animal with an R2-D2 toy trying to, like, interject himself into their little Pink Riding Hood story, and Piggy being more upset about that.
Right. Or if they had flashback and he had, like, a trash can on top of his head or something like that.
Yeah, so you go beep boop, beep boop.
Yeah.
But yeah, we unfortunately don't get to see them putting on the puppet show because we're immediately taking into the imagination segment where Piggy is Little Pink Riding Hood and just downing cupcakes.
Yep. Throwing them on the ground.
Whole. Yeah, she throws the wrappers on the ground, but she's throwing the wrappers on the ground and she gets yelled at by Park Ranger Kermit, who calls her out for littering all the cupcake wrappers, the fine for which is $5 million. And this is when Robin and Animal zoom in on a speeder bike. Like in
and they're not in Star Wars world yet.
Nope, they're just in a forest.
Yeah.
And Robin and Animal zoom in for some reason on a speeder bike. And then we ignore that almost immediately.
Yeah.
Piggy walks up to Grandma's house, which is no longer there, because as Gonzo informs us, her lease ran out, and they're building a giant rocket launcher in its place.
Not like a platform to launch spaceships or anything. A rocket launcher.
It seemed like a missile silo.
Yes. It also seemed like this would have been a good reason for her to be able to go to space, but it's not related to her going to space at all either.
No, this rocket launcher, missile silo, whatever, is never talked about again.
Nope.
It's just the reason that they pushed Grandma out of her house.
It is fun to hear Gonzo say rocket launcher, though.
He informs Piggy that Grandma bought some swampland in the Dagobah system.
Ugh.
Where Piggy's like, how am I supposed to get there? Well, her question is answered as we meet Funny Fozzie at Funny Fozzie's Rockets R Us, a used rocket dealership.
Yeah. And this is confusing because it's not related to the rockets we've just been talking about. Different rockets.
Yeah, he has rockets, though, like Saturn V style rockets. Like, he
Right.
has a bunch of different kinds of rockets. But because she's going to the Dagobah system, he helps her out and brings in an X-Wing for her.
Patentedly not a rocket. I guess maybe.
I don't think I don't think they would say a rocket ship about an X-Wing. I literally, the next thing in my notes, Sam says, I kind of like the randomness when it builds on the story and they all keep yes-anding each other.
Cut to Matt laughing his ass off.
Well, I think for me, it's when it keeps pushing the story forward.
Sure.
And it's not slowing it down or detouring it. Like the end goal is still the same.
Yeah, at least you don't have time to sit there and think, what am I doing with my life?
Yes, they keep pulling you towards Grandma's house. It's just the way she's getting there and the hurdles she has to jump over to get there keep changing as different babies keep coming in with weird things. I'm not trying to convince you that this is good.
No.
I'm just letting you know why I enjoyed it.
I kind of wish she had met Grandma at the end. I think that part kind of threw me off too.
I mean,
or
I
maybe
think we
she
can
does
determine what happened to Grandma. Maybe.
Yeah, unless Grandma is Audrey too.
I think Grandma was eaten by Audrey too.
Okay, probably.
But before we get to Audrey 2, we get some X-Wing shots of Luke crashing on Dagobah from Empire Strikes Back. And then once she lands, Piggy runs into R2-D2, who is being controlled by Animal and Robin.
Yeah.
Another great opportunity to cut back and show them playing with toys, which we do not see.
Which they do not do, yeah.
Then, in a Frank Oz crossover moment, Piggy meets Yoda.
This whole episode kind of turns into a accidental celebration of Frank Oz's non-Muppet career.
I don't imagine it's accidental. I'm sure they knew what they were doing.
The Audrey 2 part is part of it too, you think?
Yeah. I mean, that movie is pretty recent.
That's right.
And that's what Frank was up to recently. So I feel like there's definitely a conversation around like...
I think there's a 30% chance it was an accident.
Yeah, somebody put that idea in there like, hey, Frank Oz directed that. They're like, huh, that's lucky.
That's weird.
Who knew?
Well, that's weird.
Yeah. But yes, I enjoyed Piggy meeting Yoda.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
I think it sounds like whoever does the Fozzie voice is doing Yoda's voice.
That's what I think, yeah.
Which I guess makes sense if you're going for another Frank Oz character. It's sort of like they've done this on Sesame Street. I enjoy it every time, where they'll do like a Star Wars parody. And they've done this with like Eric Jacobson since Frank Oz left Sesame Street, where Grover will be dressed as Yoda.
Oh, yeah, right.
And so Eric Jacobson is playing a Frank Oz character of Grover, doing an impression of another Frank Oz character.
That's good.
Yeah.
It does feel like they're going to cut back to Fozzie dressed like Yoda, but no.
Which would be great.
But no, they don't.
The meeting with Yoda is quite brief because Yoda just kind of, I don't know. I feel like they had the idea to use the Star Wars footage and didn't really have a solid plan of how to use it. But I enjoyed seeing it, but it doesn't really go anywhere.
No.
Because then Piggy finally gets to Grandma's house and goes in, and we see a giant Venus flytrap who says, "Feed me," just like Audrey 2. Which, yeah, that is just kind of where that ends. So I guess we're left to assume that maybe Grandma was eaten by Audrey 2.
Grandma's killed, yeah.
But the reason this is happening, and again, don't mean to harp on it too much, but like the reason this scene is happening is because we cut back and see Gonzo chasing them around with a plant. So this was Gonzo's addition to the story and then what if a man-eating plant was there?
All right. I could see how if they had tweaked this and made all that a little bit more explicit, like if every episode of Muppet Babies was the babies saying like, here's my part of the story, and that was really clear, then that could be fun. And this could have been more successful. But I can see how it does like match the spirit of childhood play.
But I do think there are plenty of missteps in this section. Like I think, like you said, the Robin and Animal part, this has nothing ultimately to do with taking care of Robin and Animal. Nothing about this relates to babysitting, relates to taking care of Robin and Animal. This could have been in any Muppet Babies episode, and it could have been exactly the same scenes.
Yes, and I think that's when Muppet Babies bothers me, is like, this is, they ran out of ideas.
Yeah, totally fair. And I think it doesn't help that babysitting idea, but if you had Robin and Animal picking up Star Wars toys and trying to keep including Star Wars in this story in a way that Piggy gets mad at, that could have added to it as well.
Right.
But I think that's a different story entirely from the babysitting one.
Yeah.
But yeah, after Gonzo's been chasing them around with a plant, this is just Nanny coming in and say, yeah, sure looks like y'all had a good time.
She's been doing that a lot lately. Just check it at the end of an episode, be like, stop playing now.
Yeah. Seems like no problems at all happened here.
Yeah.
And the go bye-bye at the end of this episode is Gonzo and Animal doing shadows on the wall. Nanny calls for dinner, and Animal leaves and turns off the light, presumably killing off Shadow Gonzo.
Banished to the shadow realm, I guess.
Yeah. That is it for this week's Muppet Babies episodes.
It's slowly draining my life force.
Is it,
I mean, literally. I am getting older and dying as I'm watching it.
That is very true. Is it something that we need to rework in the future? I think we'll have that conversation between season 4 and season 5 of maybe how many episodes at a time we can reasonably be expected to watch every week.
Yeah, without episodes being 4 hours long, which would really that would kill me more than more episodes that are only like 2 hours long would be preferable to me than less episodes that are very long.
Yes,
that
which we've fallen into that trap before where we're like, what if we just watch one more episode? And then we end up talking about them for the same length of time, and we're here for 3 hours recording.
Because we just can't help ourselves.
We just can't
nasty little gluttons for punishment.
But, we'll see if we change it up. We might just stick with this solid 3 episodes per episode thing that we're doing here. But for now, Sam, I got to check in and see if you watched any non-Muppet things this week.
Oh, I went to see Nosferatu yesterday.
Ooh, how was it?
It was just Dracula, which I know is the point of it.
Yeah.
But that to the extent to which it was just Dracula was shocking. And I was just sitting there like partway through the movie being like, I've seen this story so many times before. I don't necessarily feel like I need to see it again, but it felt like somebody who's watched a bunch of Dracula movies and then was like, I'm going to make the perfect Dracula. And that's what they did. So it's good and beautiful, and the acting is all really good. But it just wasn't like super compelling to me because it really is just like beat for beat, basically the same. And you're kind of expecting like, oh, something crazy will happen, right? Like there'll be some kind of like twist on this story. And there's a tiny, tiny one at the end that kind of recontextualizes some like the female lead character's role in the story. But it's just like Dracula with like Willem Dafoe being crazy in it, which is fun and stuff like that. But it was fine. I was kind of disappointed by it because I've been kind of excited because I like Robert Eggers.
Yeah, you see that rumor kicking around about Robert Eggers?
What is it?
That he's gonna do a either sequel or remake of Labyrinth.
Oh, interesting.
This story seems to only have one source, and it's the same guy who said the Scientologists were buying the Jim Henson Studios.
Oh,
so I don't know how reliable he is.
So either he knows everything about what's happening or is making up crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's I think his website's called like the Snyder because his last name is Snyder. But yes, I don't. A lot of people are very much saying this is never going to happen. Like this is not happening. But the idea of a Robert Eggers Labyrinth movie is fascinating.
Yeah, I'd be shocked, but I think it would be good. I'd love to see that guy working with puppets. I think
that's the thing is I would love to see that, and I would be on the side of let's see what happens. Like I would not be inherently against an idea of a remake or sequel because the story, the rumor is that the Jim Henson Company is involved. That like it is a Jim Henson Company production with Robert Eggers doing a Labyrinth movie.
I can't exactly defend this thought, but the world of Nosferatu does kind of have a Muppet Christmas Carol vibe to it. It is very like it's a Victorian.
It's the same era.
Yeah, it's Victorian-y, and it is like grimy, but elevated in a similar way, where I'm picturing Muppets being on frame with the same sets and being like, yeah, that's perfect. That would work perfectly fine. Muppet Dracula would be awesome.
I mean, I feel like that's less likely than a Labyrinth movie from Robert Eggers.
No, yeah. What if, Robert Eggers just turned around and was like, I'm making the same movie again, but this time the Muppets are going to be in it.
He's actually going to start remaking all of his movies.
Yeah.
Just with Muppets now.
The North Muppet.
Well, now you're getting to that Muppet Babies naming convention, I think, is the problem. Right. I think you got to go a little bit outside the box.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's what I did. I just been watching a bunch of movies. How about you?
Yeah, I've been enjoying. We are currently on break from work. We get a nice little break for the holidays. And so my wife and I finished Shrinking season 2, which I talked about last time, and it's still so good.
Were there still lots of Muppet references?
They definitely slowed down. I think the later half of the season gets more dramatic than the first half of the season, so it would be weird to slip in a Statler and Waldorf reference maybe in the second half. But still extremely good. Like I said last time, Harrison Ford at his absolute best in this show. And Brett Goldstein is in it and is fantastic. Jason Segel, always good. So you have a lot of people who have interacted with or want to interact with the Muppets in some way.
Probably not Harrison. Well, Harrison Ford has interacted with Yoda. So
yeah, I was going to say, he's got Yoda.
Actually,
well, no.
Not.
Yes.
Yeah, never mind.
But he knows Frank Oz.
Yeah, and Chewbacca's a Muppet. Come on. Who are we kidding?
I mean, I would argue with you, but we did put Yoda in our Muppets of the Week. So I guess if Yoda makes it in, maybe Chewbacca makes it in there as well.
I think so.
But yeah, we finished Shrinking season 2. Would highly recommend checking out Shrinking if you haven't before. It's about therapy. It's about therapists going through some shit. So there's very heavy episodes, but it is produced and created by Bill Lawrence, who made Ted Lasso and who made Scrubs. And so if you're a Bill Lawrence fan, I think you will enjoy it. It's actually made me go back and start a Scrubs rewatch.
Oh, wow.
Because
how's that holding up?
I mean, there's definitely some moments that are very early 2000s-y, like let's put this woman in a bra just because we can.
Yeah.
Sort of moments. But I think the comedy writing and the shift between like comedy and drama in that show holds up pretty well.
Yeah. It feels like one of those shows when you watch it, like The Office, kind of you watch and you're like, oh, that's where everything in popular culture since came from.
Well, I feel like especially with like Bill Lawrence's career, you can see sort of a guy who started out in this world of writing more straightforward comedies,
right?
Who wanted to do more, drama, and sort of worked his way up to writing, I think, what he wanted to do. Like in my eyes, like I feel like he's getting to do now exactly what he wants to do with like Ted Lasso and Shrinking. Because he started off writing on like Spin City and Boy Meets World and stuff like that. So he was just like writing on typical sitcoms. But yeah, at some point we will see Bill Lawrence on Kermit, not in an episode as a guest. That'd be great. Bill, if you're out there, come on. I meant we will watch Bill Lawrence for Kermit because he is on screen in It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie.
Huh. Okay.
Because Piggy is cast as a actress in Scrubs in that. And
was that on NBC?
Yes, it was.
That's so weird.
Watching it now, you'll be like, oh, this is obviously an NBC thing because everything on here is an NBC property.
Weird. That's going to feel so unnatural.
Yeah, when it's not a Disney thing.
Yeah.
But yes, Bill Lawrence, if you're out there, want to talk about Muppets, you at least, if you're not a big Muppet fan, you at least seem to be surrounding yourself with a lot of people who are Muppet fans.
Met Muppets, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. So before we get out of here, we got to let you know what we'll be watching next time. And next time, it's a whole new year for us, Sam. We'll be diving in to January of 1988.
Wow. Just like we're diving into a whole new year right now.
Yeah, people don't know this because they're hearing this in 2025. But for us, we are currently recording the last episode we'll record in 2024.
We've almost exactly matched up with where we've been watching for a long time.
Yeah, which is, I think, a bad thing.
Why?
Because that means we're going slowly through the times.
Oh, fuck, dude. We're like 1-to-1.
Yes,
no.
We're like parallel with things for a while because we had to sort of loop back on ourselves.
Oh, no, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so don't think about that too hard.
Okay, I'll
and
not be excited about that anymore.
Just remember that we'll get through 1988 by the spring, I think, of this coming year. So, yeah, we will next time be diving into January of 1988 as we finish up season 4 of Muppet Babies.
Oh, Christ. There's more.
The nice thing I will say, Sam, is the later seasons of Muppet Babies actually get shorter.
Oh, yeah. I saw somebody talking about that on Discord. There's one season that's only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we could knock that out in 2 episodes.
That made me feel so much better.
Yeah. So, and I think we're going to maybe start bringing back some guests for Muppet Babies episodes because I've had a couple people express interest and I want them to see if they actually still enjoy this.
We have to show other people what the reality of Muppet Babies is.
Yeah. We'll have Nick Jenkins back probably. Hank Green has texted us in the past about an episode of Muppet Babies that he swears exists.
That may or may not exist. Yeah.
And I really don't think it does. But if we ever come across that episode, we will invite Hank to be on the podcast. And we've got a couple other people who have expressed interest in being on to talk about Muppet Babies. So hopefully we'll have some guests on for season 5. But the episodes we'll be watching next time are The House That Muppets Built.
Ideally, it would be learning how houses are built. I'm sure it won't be that. They'll probably have a doll. They'll have like a dollhouse or something. They'll build a big house out of cardboard and playhouse. That's what they're gonna do.
I think you've landed pretty close to what it looks like Muppet Wiki is saying it is. And I'm also seeing a very clear screenshot from this episode of Quasi Gonzo.
Oh.
Which makes me believe that the Go Bye Bye we saw this week is probably supposed to be on that episode.
Interesting. Okay.
The other episodes we are going to watch are Masquerading Muppets.
I guess a masquerade ball.
And Nanny's Day Off.
Well, every day for Nanny is a day off, if we're being honest.
I will also say Nanny's Day Off has the least information on a Muppet Wiki page that I've ever seen.
What's it say?
Episode 418, Nanny's Day Off. The babies give Nanny the day off. Songs, Riding with the Wagon Trail. End of information.
Riding with the Wagon Trail. How does this relate to Nanny?
There is one screenshot of Nanny sitting in a chair. But it does seem like at least 2 of the 3 episodes next time have songs.
Oh, allegedly.
Now, whether they are actual songs or whether they are songs like we saw this time, we'll find out next time.
It would be fun if there were no songs for a long time and then one episode was like, Rolf, why haven't you written us a song in a while? We've noticed. He'd be like, I just haven't been inspired. And then
I've been going through some shit.
Yeah. I'm older than you guys. You know?
I learned I can't bark.
I'm 7. Help me.
Why am I still wearing a diaper?
We don't see the bottom of Rolf in the grown-up Muppets, so he could still have the diaper on.
He's a very big diaper because we always see like wide Rolf body whenever we see more of Rolf.
An infinite diaper.
Oh, I don't like the idea that Rolf's always wearing a diaper. But that's not all we're going to watch next time because, as we talked about at the top of the show, there was this series of VHS tapes released around this time called Muppet Babies Video Storybooks, which, yeah, they look insufferable. But we're going to space them out and talk about one at a time. And so I'm going to tack them on to some other episodes. And yeah, so we will talk about Volume 1.
Muppet Babies, and then we'll watch more Muppet Babies.
Mm-hmm.
You sicko.
And I think what'll happen is we'll watch this one and we'll understand better if this is a thing we need to watch more of.
Okay.
Or if this is a thing where maybe in the future we just skim around and watch the live action Kermit and Robin segments and we can skip the baby stories. I don't know.
Narrated by Jim, though. I don't think we're allowed to.
So, we'll be watching Volume 1 of Muppet Babies Video Storybooks, where Kermit will read to us and Robin 3 stories called Meet the Muppet Babies.
Okay, interesting.
Baby Piggy and the Giant Bubble.
Ugh, okay.
And What's a Gonzo?
Oh, okay, so we could learn some stuff here.
This don't think we will,
this
but
could
I
be
am
something.
This is a way, I think, for us to get into the storybook world of the Muppets that we don't often dive into. Like
Sure.
there's a whole bunch of Muppet Babies books. There's a whole bunch of Fraggle Rock storybooks that we don't often cover printed material on this podcast. So I think this is a little bit of a way for us to get an insight into that world.
Okay. Well, this will justify us watching Muppet Babies. I believe it will.
Ooh.
I believe it will.
That is a strong, strong claim.
It's gonna happen.
Man, I don't know that we get a Batman episode of Muppet Babies, but I feel like I'm curious who would play who in these, like Skeeter as the Riddler or something like that.
Skeeter could be Batman. She would punch somebody until they passed out.
Yeah, she would be a vigilante if we gave her the option. I am seeing on Muppet Wiki a picture of baby Gonzo in a Batman parody at some point.
Is he Batman?
So, yes.
Gonzo makes the most sense to me for some reason.
So we will see. Well, he seems like maybe the most superhero.
And he will be called Bruce Weird. I'm so sure of it.
It actually sounds pretty funny.
Don't read it. Don't spoil it.
That seems like it's going to be a 7th season episode.
Ah, Christ.
Oh my God, Sam. I am excited for us to get to this episode.
Okay. Well, we have years to go.
I see screenshots of Gonzo dressed as Batman standing next to everyone else dressed as Ninja Turtles.
Oh, mama. Now we're talking.
And Bean Bunny's here.
It will get to the years when we were little kids. So, like, there will be some pandering to people our age.
This is very true. But yeah, that episode came out in September 1990.
Okay.
So we're a little ways off. Yeah. But it does look more fun than anything else we've watched.
Okay. It's all going to be worth it, man. I swear.
Oh, we'll see. What was I doing? Oh, I was thanking our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. Don't forget to go to commitment.com for all your commitment needs, including commitment merch. And give us a little rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. I'm sure it helps us out in some ways. I think I looked the other day and we were number 40 on the Mexican film history charts.
Oh,
on Apple Podcasts.
We're hitting the big time.
Look at us go. You can follow this podcast everywhere on social media at Commitment Pod, and you can follow me at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.